What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this JAEDONG compilation. We've got JAEDONG spawning here in the top right hand corner. Let's see if we can change these colors around. Actually, there we go. We've got blue Terran 4GG spawning in the bottom left. I've got a whole bunch of JAEDONG replays to go through today. I'm gonna bring you guys the best ones. Starting out here with 4GG. He's probably the only big name player that we have in this small compilation. 4GG, he was active mostly in 2008, 2009, was a pro league player, played in some of these Kespa era star leagues as well. Didn't end up winning much, but he was, pretty highly ranked, and he was able to achieve some, 4th place, 5th place match standings. Pretty reasonably strong player, but he switched over to Starcraft 2. I don't know how he did there. I didn't really follow Starcraft 2 that much, but he's kind of back now. Gonna be playing in Broodwar a little bit here and there, and he managed to meet JAEDONG, probably someone who would have slapped him in the 2009 era, but maybe 4GG can show us some more refined play. And JAEDONG's been struggling a little bit lately. He's been showing some good results. He's been showing some improvement, but definitely not anywhere near where he was, 2008, 2007. Like, he was such a god back then. If not for Flash, he would be considered the GOAT, as he would have won so many different tournaments that he just barely lost out to Flash again in the finals of those tournaments. And now he's kind of taking the back seat. I don't think he practices nearly as much. Probably makes a lot of money from streaming. He's such a big name. Just having him in a series in a Star League brings out the bodies. So many people want to see JAEDONG play. They have so many great memories from back in the past of JAEDONG just dominating. He's just got such a mystique around him. The Tyrant truly does have some of that brand value, right? But we really haven't seen much of 4GG in these past 10 years, and even longer, 14 years, maybe 15 years, and I'm not sure how he's been developing, what kind of play he's going to bring for us. Today, he's going to be throwing out a 2-rack, starting from the high ground. It's kind of interesting. I've seen a lot more players do this recently, although it kind of went out of fashion for a while. More players opting to go for the wall-in, building the barracks here and then 2 supply depots above to set up this nice little wall where they can be very well defended. Now, the high ground barracks is nicer for if your opponent wants to ling rush you. If they go for a ling rush and you catch onto it, you can pull the SCVs to the ramp. Wow, that's a lot of transferred SCVs. Seems a little excessive, but if they ling rush, you can just pull 4 or 5 SCVs to the ramp, and with 1 Marine behind it, you will just hold that. So it's much more robust, those early ling rushes, but it's way easier to die to a ling flood at around this time. So as soon as the SCV gets picked off, it's possible for a player like JAEDONG to just start making a huge amount of lings and then come running in here before the medics are out and boom, kill all the Marines. You just lose everything. That's why he's staying right next to the ramp. If there was a giant ling rush, or not a ling rush, excuse me, a ling flood, he could try to walk up the ramp and take a better fight on that ramp. We're about to see 2 medics pop out, and he's going to start to move here. Pretty crisp timing, 4:50 with, what have we got here, 9 Marines. That is an excellent time. You can see he's very crisp in what he's doing. He's got 2 firebats coming up behind this. The 4 lings are going to run by, but the firebats are going to pop out here in a moment. We've got stim pack on the way. This army moving across the map is quite scary, so 2 sunken colonies will be forced. Double sunken on the way. Base taken at center right. That's a very interesting base to take. It's going to be super hard to defend, but maybe with Hydraless Defiler, he can make it happen. Or maybe he wants to go all-in Muta, something like that. Some sort of all-in-ish play where he doesn't need to, defend and get into a 4th base late game. Second colony finishes is enough to hold back these Marines at least long enough for the 6 mutas to pop out. He's going to hit the stim button and go ahead and try to snipe down these sunken colonies, but this should be fine for JAEDONG. He's just going to target down as many Marines as he can. That one sunken colony is still alive. Just go ahead and shoot the Marines that are actually targeting. Okay, wait, that fire bat could get some kills. No, it does not. Diving on the last few Marines. This is perfect from JAEDONG. He just handled this with ease. And now 4GG is light years behind. This is a really bad position for 4GG. Almost no Mutalisks were lost during that fight. Great spread as well. Look at the spread on these Mutas. JAEDONG's played a few ladder games before. He knows that there could be, you know, a fire bat or something hiding out on the map. Maybe a couple of Marines that were sent in reinforcement that could suddenly come in and ruin his day. So he sends out the Mutas, spreads them everywhere. Now going to come into this main base, just checking. Post it up here. And it really does feel like that 4GG made a big mistake there. Forcing these just 2 sunkens is usually enough for these Terran players, but getting a little greedy, he wanted more. He goes for the kill and ends up losing that fight. That was completely expected. It's very rare that you see a Terran player just get in and kill against 2 sunken colonies when mutas are in production. As long as you control pretty well. Oh my god, there's so many SCVs going down, by the way. Yeah, this is brutal. An absolute slapdown by JAEDONG. This is... It's funny that I said at the beginning of the cast, 2009 JAEDONG would have absolutely messed up and slapped down 4GG, but it seems like he's still able to do the same here in 2024. 4GG is running on fumes. He's at 25 SCVs when he should be at 35. He's lost, I'd say, at least 10 SCVs to that first Mutalisk swipe, and now he's going to lose another 3, 4 at least. Marines are starting to move out. Looks like he missed 1 shot there, so he only ends up killing 2 SCVs. But this tiny little bio ball that we see on the map, that is not going to last long. We're going to see a quick cleanup here by JAEDONG, and then a pretty quick tap out by 4GG following that, I imagine. Hydra Den is on the way. This is the type of scenario where you just keep pressure, keep the Marines back, build the Hydra Den, build a ton of lurkers, and just run into the natural and end the game. And no need to go any further than that. All you need to do is just keep the pressure on, and eventually you will just straight up win. The, you know, the factory is kind of done. It's getting there. And the starports are coming up, but there's just no bio. Hardly any at all. And there's so many mutas ready to fight this. He is going to go into Queen's Nest and Evolution Chamber. I don't even think that's going to become a factor in this game, though. We are going to see lurkers upgrade being made. He clears out those 2 turrets. He's trying to open a position so he can eventually force 4GG off of this natural. Stop him from mining altogether. That's going to be a little bit tough. He may end up losing quite a few mutas trying to do that, but he may also force the bio to go out so that he can clean it up again. And I think that's just about to happen. Let's see if he baits in these lings. Okay, not going to keep them. We're not going to be able to pick them off. Lings are going to spread. Mutas are going to loop around, and I think he just collapses on this immediately and kills it. As soon as that's dead, the 4 Hydras that are popping out are going to come across this map, morph into lurkers, set up in the natural, and that should be that. I don't even see any... Okay, he's making Valkyries. Yeah, see, this lurker transition is going to be insane. Here comes those Marines. Going to go ahead and fight. Try to gun down as many mutas as possible. And okay, he just taps out. Yeah, he loses the bio again. Didn't have enough workers. Didn't have enough momentum on his side. 4GG taps out of game number 1. Let's see how he does in game number 2. Very straightforward victory in that game number 1 for JAEDONG. Now we've got 4GG spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. On Radion. JAEDONG over here in the top left. He's sending that Overlord directly down to the bottom center so that he can get some vision control over that area. No 8 racks or anything. Let's see if 4GG builds his barracks on high ground again. I'm always curious about that. The wall meta and how it shifts over time. I haven't seen a lot of people go for Ling Rushes, which is technically the counter to that play, but maybe on the ladder it's been becoming more popular because walling in is so big right now. We've even seen CC first start to make a comeback as well. So yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. Big switch up here. Gas build coming in from 4GG. He's definitely going to be building his Rex and his factory as well on high ground and relying on that ramp for security. Meanwhile, we've got the spawning pool extractor on the way from JAEDONG. Going to be hitting a pretty standard middleless timing. We'll see if he ends up going for a third hatchery with this or not. I think if you go a 12 hatch, 11 pool, 10 gas, which is what I believe he did there, it's a little bit harder to get enough minerals out to get that third hatchery, and he'll also have to buy a sunken colony as well, so that kind of throws a wrench into things. Sometimes you want to build your hatchery at the front in that case. Build your hatchery maybe here and put the sunken colony, you know, out here potentially, if there's enough creep spread by the time it's ready to be thrown down. We have that factory on the way. Drone is going to run up here into the natural. He sees no CC, but he only sees the one marine. Remember, last game there was a just a barracks on high ground, and eventually got into that CC. So it's not entirely clear that this is a factory build just yet. That's why we're seeing the drone stay here and just try to figure that out. This Overlord is going to move around the side. It's still not quite time to build a sunken colony, but that time is coming up soon. Like 3:30 is right around the time when you want to start building that sunken, if you know that it's going to be a vulture coming across the map. Now, actually, an add-on here has started for GG. He's gonna go for like 3 vultures, I think. There's this creep colony. He's realized it now. Needs that creep colony. There will be a vulture on the way, but the vulture with speed is going to be very interesting. He's gonna wait for like 3 vultures and then try to run by, I think. I believe that's going to be the plan. Does want to hide these vultures. Okay, he's actually gonna send it out on the map. I'll just rally to the front for now. You want to hide the fact that you're building vultures non-stop, and you don't have like a quick starport behind this or a double starport or anything like that. It's quite a bit of gas, an extra 150 gas to start this upgrade and to get the machine shop. So it does slow down your other tech, and JAEDONG's going to start to get a little bit suspicious. He didn't build the hatchery on the low ground. Ooh, I'm worried. I'm worried. If he had the hatchery down here, I would say he's going to be 100% fine, but it's going to be scary. Can he see this? Oh, he sees the vultures coming. Okay, he's going to pull the drones, build some buildings. That scout with the Overlord cannot be overstated how important that is. He probably will be absolutely fine. Yeah, there we go. Extra buildings in this wall. Boom. He saves it. No problem whatsoever. He probably lets some of these buildings finish. I mean, this evolution chamber for sure. He might cancel this one. Actually, it's pretty good to just prevent them from going by, but the run by is still going to occur. Drones were pulled extremely fast. Okay, the Hydra Den does get canceled. Second sunken colony will be allowed to finish, but the eggs are going to start to die. That's very annoying. You don't want the eggs to be dying here. 5 meters about to pop out. This egg, one egg is going to end up going down. It looks like, no, going after the drones now. He gets another drone, but that is it. I think total 2 drones, maybe 3 drones went down in that attack. That's not what you're looking for here as 4GG. He did force out some more buildings, which is kind of nice. That's a minus, 2 drones or something like that, but this is not the damage he was looking for. He was looking for a lot more than that. And now JAEDONG's going to come across the map. He's got his mutas. There is already a Valkyrie out. Valkyrie plus Goliath is not a composition that you regularly see. That's just a little bit too much gas. Valkyries are super expensive. And so, yeah, you almost never see this comp. Like, what even is this? Very confusing that we're seeing this come out of 4GG. But he's got 2 Valkyries and 3 Goliaths. Wow. Yeah, that is something. I'm not gonna say that's like something good. I'm gonna say that that's just something. Is it bad? Is it good? I would say probably bad, but I'm gonna reserve judgment for now. 2 Valkyries, a third about to pop out. He's making so few Goliaths, just 1 at a time. And he's not even got them in production right now because he can't afford it. That's a lot of splash damage from these 2 Valkyries, and they've actually been quite badly injured. He's gonna bring the Scourge into this now and see if he can get some connections on some of these Valks. Already eats 1 shot. And now there's 3 Valkyries, so diving in there, he would probably end up losing all of his mutas. Even if he killed the Valkyries, it wouldn't be a great trade because every muta would end up going down. And so he's going to back off for the time being. A 4th Valkyrie. Oh, no. Wow. How much gas do we have? This is crazy. He's going, you know, Goliath, Valkyrie, now into Vessel as well. He definitely can't... He's gonna make tanks. My goodness, okay. Sending in 1 muta. This is a great move from JAEDONG. It's tempting to try and fly in all of your mutas and look for some damage while you're doing the scouting, but he realizes that the most important thing right now is not getting damage. It's just figuring out what the play is from 4GG. And it's actually gonna be a switch back into bio. So it's gonna be some sort of bio tank Valkyrie Goliath conglomeration, which probably won't be as strong as a more normal play, just because he's gone through such a weird route. Like, this is not going to be, you know, fantasy level attack where he hits this super crisp timing with a bunch of tanks, Valkyries, and Marines. The Marines are going to be slower. There's not going to be, you know, as many tanks. The Valkyrie number will be very high, but I don't know. It doesn't feel to me like this is going to be extremely strong. Now, oh, is he going to lose one of these Valkyries? Losing some of the Valkyries right now is so brutal. He loses 1. Another Scourge here, just kind of chilling. He doesn't want to move, so he's just going to stay there. Yeah, Marines are coming out now, but this is a little bit slower than what we would expect, like a fantasy style play to be. And JAEDONG's going to utilize that time to get his 3rd base online. He's got his 3rd gas up. He's got 4 hatcheries. He has Hive done now. Didn't go into Hydralis, which is a little bit worrisome. Usually you want to get lurkers out with this, but he's going to go directly into Ultra Cavern. That is wild to me. How is he going to hold this tank Vulture... or tank Goliath Valkyrie Marine medic push with science vessel support? It's it's a mouthful, but it is a relatively strong army. Like, you can't just mess around. You gotta have something to deal with this. Ooh, he gets 1 Valkyrie kill. Not able to get any of these vessels, but he at least forces another Irradiate out, I guess. The tanks are gonna be a real problem. Only a couple of Sunkens. 1 here and a couple here. He's gonna start to build Sunkens out as far as he can. Oh, the Valkyries go down. Trying to dive onto one of these. Oh, he gets 1 science vessel as well. That's huge. So all the Valkyries are gone. The science vessel, there's only 1 remaining. He's got Adrenal. He has +1 armor done. We're gonna have chitinous plating coming up soon. Ultras are gonna start to spawn here shortly. This is a really weird situation. I've never quite seen a game like this. But pushing in right now, I feel like... I don't think that JAEDONG really handled this the proper way. He didn't really choose the right tech to deal with this, but he's going to kill 1 of the tanks. He loses all of his mutas. He's going to lose that upgrade as well. That was the +1 attack upgrade that was on the way. Possibly going to lose the natural here soon. Diving in, trying to kill 1 more vessel, but he's not able to quite get it. Brings all the lings out to go ahead and fight. 1 more ultra going to pop out of the natural as these ultras come down. from the ramp, but it's before chitinous plating is done. Chitinous plating is not here yet. He's gonna jump on top of this tank. At least the tank won't be able to shoot at him while he's on top of it, so the Ultra will survive for quite a long time. The Scourge are gonna get that one of the last vessels. Another Ultra pops out just in the nick of time. I think he's just barely held, guys. He's just barely held, but with only 16 drones remaining, JAEDONG is going to tap out. Oh, the drop into the main at the same time. 4GG showing some pretty good competence, actually, even though the build was incredibly diluted and weird. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense. This timing attack was good, and I don't think that JAEDONG made the right call with the way he decided to hold this. Like, going directly into Ultra make very little sense in this case. Like, he flew in, he saw the extra barracks, he saw tanks making. I can't quite understand what he was thinking. If you make a Hydroden and get Lurker and then go for a Defiler, you should be able to hold on. There's not going to be a lot of irradiates, that you know for sure. He's made so many Valkyries, their radiates are not going to be in huge numbers, and you should be able to hold on. You know, get into Hydra's Defiler or something like that. But he just wanted to go Ultra so badly, and the timing ended up working out beautifully in 4GG's favor. That chitinous plating came in way too late, like when the fight was kind of already over, and this follow-up drop was beautiful. I didn't even see it coming in. I was too focused on the front here, as was JAEDONG, I imagine. It was so close to a hold, but then this drop just eliminates everything and removes his opportunity to ever come back in this game by just lowering that drone count so much. That was a fun game, actually. Kind of cool to see 4GG back in the swing of things and taking out a player like JAEDONG. 1-1 between these two, but I don't have a game number 3, unfortunately. We're going to jump into some Protoss action. JAEDONG versus one of our Protoss players. Let's go check it out. Okay, for our next match, we've got JAEDONG versus Mulso. Mulso spawning here in the center right. JAEDONG down on Dominator in the bottom left. He's opening with a overpool build. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Pretty standard stuff. This is the build that I like to use on ladder as well. Can be abused a little bit by some greedy play from the Protoss, but for the most part, it is a very reasonable response to what Protoss can put out in the early game. It can go for like a Nexus first against this and potentially get away with it, but Mulso's not going to take that risk. He's instead going to immediately throw down that Forge, and he will get a cannon going after this Nexus. So it's still a really reasonable decision from him to get the Forge first. Just delay the cannon by a little bit. Actually, this is going to be perfect. He's going to have this cannon start right before the Lings pop out. And it is quite a few Lings, actually. He went for 6 Lings. That's a pretty heavy commitment against what's going to be a near perfect wall from Mulso. He's going to drop a gateway here in a moment, which is going to completely clog this up. I mean, there's going to be a small gap at the top and a small gap here at the bottom as well, but the cannon will be done. And as long as he pulls the proper amount of probes and gets them in the wall, there shouldn't be any damage. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, move the probes. Let's go. All right, here he comes. He's going to make the run by Mulso. Is he going to pull the probes in time? Here we go. Makes the wall. Oh my goodness. Absolutely wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. That is awful for JAEDONG. He's got 2 workers left with no HP left on them, and they both get completely cucked. That is brutal. Well, this is another situation where JAEDONG is starting off from kind of a ridiculous deficit. It's not unplayable, but that is horrible. That's about as bad as it gets. You build the 6 Lings into not a Nexus first, but a very well optimized build against the overpool play. and build 6 lings, lose every single one of them, and didn't even get 1 probe kill. That's never a good feeling, because you know that zealots are going to start coming across the map, and you already built 6 lings, and you're going to have to build another like 4 to 6 lings just to deal with that zealot that's coming. This probe is trying to get in. He wants to go and see what's in there, because there is actually a Hydralisk Den coming, but as soon as the zealot comes up, the probe is going to get in, because you have to respond to the zealot. The zealot cannot just be allowed to do whatever it wants. These 4 lings will need to deal with that, and as long as the probe is still alive at that point, he will eventually get in with the probe to the main base. Zealot going to work on this drone already. Probe needs to turn. Probe needs to turn and go back into the main. I don't know what he's doing with that. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck this zealot in the corner. Trading pretty reasonably well. 2 versus 1 is not the best in the world, but it's gonna get him quite a few ling kills. Oh, he loses the probe. That is unfortunate. Maybe he dies now. Maybe he indeed dies. Had he, as the zealot was coming in, turned the probe around and went right into the main base, he actually would have scouted everything. But because he waited, he let the probe run nearly back home, you know, halfway back across the map, and then eventually turn that around. He gets caught by lings, and now he has no idea that there's a Hydralisk Den. He has no clue. He's just gonna sit here in his wall, build cannons. Coming across, he's gonna spot the Hydras, and so he will let those cannons finish. Those might have been emergent, or kind of like safety cannons, and would have been canceled had he seen no Hydras coming, but now that he sees Hydras, he's gonna let those finish. And I still think he's in a great spot. Mulso doing an excellent job preparing for this Hydra bust. Doesn't mean he's gonna hold though. 4th zealot pops out with 4 zealots and 3 cannons already done. I just don't know how that JAEDONG can break into this. He won't be able to kill the Forge, by the way, either. Like, he gets the gateway for sure, but even with range, I don't think he can kill the Forge. It's just a little bit too far tucked back, and these 2 cannons are going to cover it perfectly. Lings are going to run forward. Here comes the zealots right out in time. Excellent handling so far of this attack, and he's trying to get the angle on the Forge. I don't see it. I don't think there's an angle there. Corsair went back across the map. It's looking for some Overlord kills. Looks like it might find 1, but a Hydra is going to be brought forward to push that away. Back at home, more drones are being made. There's really no other choice for JAEDONG. He has to try and drone out of this. He starts his evolution chamber, but his upgrades are going to be very far behind because he wasn't able to kill the Forge. So Mulso gotta be feeling very good about this game now. 5 cannons are done. His Templar Archives is finishing up. Gateways are coming online. He didn't overcommit to cannons. He didn't undercommit either, which is generally a much worse. Just getting the exact right number of cannons to make this attack impossible and untenable, and keeping the Corsair alive and on the other side of the map to make sure that more Hydras aren't coming. So Mulso gonna come out soon with a huge force of units with this an upgrade advantage. And what will he decide to do? Will he decide to quickly try to take a 3rd base? Or is he going to just power really hard, get up to 8 gateways, and do like a giant Dragoon Zealot Templar attack? Because those are some of the most devastating attacks to deal with, but it doesn't leave you with a great late game if the attack doesn't end up working out. Like, if the Zerg player has a few lings and he's controlling the bases and he doesn't allow you to take an expansion, and then your attack also doesn't work, it can get a little bit dicey. Sometimes it's better to come out and just secure the 3rd and then think about doing the attack, but a lot of players prefer to just all in 2 base, not all in, but you know, just go for broke on 2 bases and take the 3rd base later if they're not able to win off of 2 bases. Now we're going right up to 8 gates as expected. 4 on this side, only 3 here so far, but I'm sure he'll add 1 more. Definitely has the money to do so. Builds a... I heard a Dark Archon. Okay, Dark Archon on the way. He has a feeling that there might be a Mutalisk transition, but the Spire just started over at the center left. And I think that a Mutalisk transition is absolutely... It's just great. Great idea, honestly, from JAEDONG. Because it's one of the few ways that you can really get yourself back into a game like this. If you're just going to be trading Hydras and trying to, you know, take fights and dodge storms, it's so hard to do it from a deficit. But if you fly in, kill all the Templar, and then make the transition, I mean, it's doable. It's very doable. Gonna go around here. He's looking for that Spire. I'm not clear if he actually saw the Spire or not there. But there are lurker eggs on the way, so he's kind of trying to disguise the fact that he's going to be making Muta soon by making a bunch of lurkers here at the front in plain view of this Corsair. But the Corsair, honestly, I'm really impressed with Mulso and his ability to keep on scouting here. Just keep this Corsair moving and looking. He's looking for this. He's checked everywhere else. He knows that this is the only corner that he hasn't really looked at yet. He very much wants to find out if there are going to be mutas on the way. Let's see. The Spire just finished. He's going to make a bunch of mutas. Seems like Mulso's plan is underway now. He's going to move out and take the third. An aggressive third here at 10 minutes. And, you know, power up even further. He's not going to go for one of these massive 2-base attacks. And so... JAEDONG gonna come up and take the position that is offered. He's gonna be allowed to just walk right up and take this front area of the natural. Try to catch a few Dragoons as they pop out, which is excellent. 14 workers on the way. He's gonna transition into a 4-base economy. Oh, great little Maelstrom there, keeping these Hydras locked down, and man, he just crushes this attack. Or this little containment out in front. He loses only a couple of Zealots and a couple of Dragoons. And we'll be able to push everything away. Great use of the Maelstrom there, realizing that there aren't a bunch of mutas on the way. So might as well try to get some use out of that. Corsair is still alive somehow. So many drones transferring into top left. Up to 60 workers. It's actually time for more hatcheries. And he's going to go into Hive. I would recommend like 2 more hatcheries at this base as well, because it's so hard to macro all of this off of 4 bases. You have so much money on 60 workers, so so far not going to do that. Okay, maybe gonna add on another hatch. No, not yet. Maybe take another base, try to take a base in top center. That's a possibility as well. But Mulso is getting close to a supply where he could maybe start to push, so switching over into just making units might be a good idea. There's the extra hatcheries coming down. 1 extra hatchery so far. A creep colony as well over here. Time to start making masses upon masses of units and transitioning into this hive. Mulso is just about ready to push. He may want to take a 4th base just before he goes. But could just also take it while he's going, right? He doesn't need to stay there and wait for it to come up. It's not essential that that base comes online. Ooh, great Maelstrom once again. Gonna kill another 6 Hydras with just 1 storm. Does lose the Templar, unfortunately, but hey, that was a great trade, and the Dark Archon is still alive. Just gonna send that back home, actually. Really good use of the Dark Archon. Finally, the fate of that Corsair is sealed. Base down here at 6 o'clock. Very interesting. Trying to stretch out and take this 6 o'clock base while pushing over towards top left. He definitely won't be able to defend that. If anything gets sent down to bottom center, that base will die. But maybe JAEDONG will be too distracted over here towards top left. He won't be able to deal with it. Lurkers are going down, and the Zealots have mostly dried up. Wait, where are all the Zealots? Okay, they're actually behind the force. Lings are attacking the Dragoons, which is usually not great, but they don't have attack speed yet. They don't have crackling upgrade just yet, so they're not going to be dealing nearly as much damage, and the Dragons can kind of stand and fight with them for the most part. Pretty good storm so far, but the Lurker spread is a little bit scary. Still bringing up more Lurkers here. JAEDONG holding on for now. Dragoons are getting a little bit low. A lot of them have eaten quite a few shots from these lurkers, and now their HP at where it's at, this army is just going to start to evaporate. Yeah, Lings and Hydras come forward, and I think that Mulso overstayed his welcome. Truly staying a little bit too long in this fight. Brings me back to something that Snow often says, is that the main priority at this point in the game is just to trade. You just want to come forward, trade your storms for units, trade your energy, and then back away. There's no point in fully engaging with that army. Mulso ends up losing a good proportion of his dragoons. His army is looking a lot weaker. But JAEDONG is having a hard time putting everything together as well. He's just now getting into Defiler. But he is on 4 bases, and he has triple upgrade, or at least double upgrade on the way. He has triple evolution chamber. He just hasn't started that last upgrade. Okay, there it is. He does get that started. Has +2. Gonna have +3 here soon. And of course, that melee attack upgrade is super important in the late game. Coming forward with all of these units. We're also gonna try and break this high ground once again. He's actually up on the high ground pretty well, but dude, these Zealots just getting minced. And the Dark Archon goes down. Sadly, that unit ends up biting the dust here at the end. Nexus is about to come up. 4th base has been established, but now it's time for JAEDONG to start taking this other main base over in top left. Very important that he holds on to that, and for Mulso that he denies that base from ever happening. If he ends up getting an Onidus over in this area, and you're just not going to be able to push down this ramp very easily. It's going to be such a nightmare to go all the way up there to deal with that and leave your back door open. Oh my goodness, double robotics facility. You rarely see Protoss players commit this quickly to the double robo, and especially not at the 4th base, but he's just going to go for it. Whole bunch of lurkers are coming up. If there was 2 Reavers out already, this is an easy hold with the storms. Maybe he can still survive, but the Defiler is going to make the difference. The Dark Swarms may help him to break this here. That's quite a few Zealots. The Lurkers are going to slowly push in. There's the Reaver. 2 Reavers are out now. He's got to start making those Scarabs right away. I think he's probably going to hold. Running up with Lurkers and trying to burrow in range of cannons is usually not the greatest approach. It tends to not work out very well in my games. That's what I'll say. Storms should be coming down here soon. He's got 3 more seconds before the next storm is ready. A lot of probes are gonna die as they come get transferred over to this base. In fact, like 10-15 probes just went down. Some Zealots gonna make their way forward, trying to clear out the last of these lurkers. The Reavers are still here, and the Robos are still pumping away. So there's still 2 more Reavers that are about to pop out. Maybe he can just barely hold, or JAEDONG, he's getting in here on top of the Reavers now. The Reavers are starting to fall. Another Reaver pops out here, but there's nothing to pick these Reavers up. He's got another storm there, but he isn't able to save that Reaver. He still has the robotics facilities, but now he's lost so many probes. It's starting to become a little bit bad here, a little worrisome for Mulso. He has only 34 workers. He has 4 Nexuses, but 34 workers is dangerous territory. 10 kills on this Lurker. And JAEDONG is going to start spilling in the Tyrant Zerg, sending in masses of units like Sauron himself coming from every different direction. Look at the minimap right now as the unit's just flowing down towards this bottom center. It was very important indeed for Mulso to prevent the base over in top left from ever going up, but it gave the opportunity for JAEDONG to push down a few more seconds, I think, and Mulso would have held this with relative ease had he just had, you know, those 2 Reavers pop out and have their Scarabs ready. As the Lurkers were trying to run up, he probably could have just killed all of those Lurkers, no problem. Now the Nexus is going to end up falling, and with the Nexus going down, some of these probes are going to die as well. Mulso is just about out of options, and he taps out. GG. This was a cool play, though. I like this. I really like the going for the 4th base, and as soon as you get the 4th base, making the double robo and just start pumping Reavers. Again, had these Reavers been done with their Scarabs, maybe this attack kills the base, and this actually holds, but JAEDONG did a fantastic job getting in just in the nick of time, dropping those dark swarms, getting in on top of all this. He actually managed to kill this line of cannons, and with the rallies push through and finally end this base. It was so close to a hold, but Mulsoul has to tap out. Excellent job by JAEDONG in this game, coming from a pretty strong deficit, honestly. Mulsoul was looking poised to win, but just wasn't quite able to hang on to this fourth. Lost too many probes and has to tap out. Let's jump into our next game. We've got more Protoss coming up, more JVP coming in here on the next game. Okay, another PVZ with a barcode Protoss spawning here in the top right hand corner. This is an unknown player. Checked in with RJB, and yeah, this is not someone that we know. His identity, unfortunately, JAEDONG spawning down in the bottom left hand corner, giving us a pretty good game there. Last one, I felt like he was in a bad spot. The way he threw away his early lings, it was not looking good. The attack, the initial push out and containment of Mulsoul did not look good either. But Mulsoul really did overcommit with some of his attacks, like just pushing and pushing and pushing and not moving backwards after the storms had been traded and the zealots had left the battlefield, turned themselves into dragoons. So he overpushed and undercommitted to the defense at the fourth base as well. Wasn't ready for that attack coming in, and he's been eliminated. We've got JAEDONG here taking a pretty quick hatchery off of an overpull. He's only going to build 2 lings this time, so not nearly the commitment that we saw from the last game. There is a gateway on the way though, so he does need to continue to produce lings after this initial 2. We'll see if a pylon block comes down, because this can get kind of frustrating, infuriating in fact, if a pylon comes down and you don't have the ling attack power to deal with it, plus you have a zealot coming into your natural. It is a little bit rough, but he's actually just blocking and blocking and blocking. My goodness, this is some good control. Nice job by JAEDONG finishing off that probe, but you can see he had a glut of minerals, over 100 minerals, while waiting to throw down that hatchery. And in fact, his extractor seems a little bit slow as well. You want to throw down, usually you go third base and then extractor immediately after. But if you aren't able to throw down the third, it's much better to throw down the extractor at the same time as you usually would, in order to get that gas going at the correct time. But it's just, it's frustratingly hard to do all of these things at the same time, and it feels like the extractor just a tad bit late. We'll see if that affects the Corsair timing and all that good stuff. Like how much damage the Corsair is able to do. Looks like a zealot was caught, maybe going down here to the bottom right. Does he see it? Oh, he finds it. Look at that. Finds the zealot down in bottom right. Gonna go ahead and chase that behind the mineral patches. Unfortunately, we'll lose, I think, 3 lings total. Barely, not just 2. Looks like he made a little bit of a jittery move there with the zealot and doesn't get the 3rd ling. That's fine. Was trying to get a little bit of a better position on that so that 2 lings couldn't attack, but he was kind of screwed. Either way, that zealot was gonna go down. We have a Stargate on the way and a cannon warping in at the natural. Enough zealots to completely block any sort of run by. There's not a huge amount of lings coming just yet. No layer though as well. 4 hatch Hydra is what we're gonna see out of JAEDONG. This is a build that I messed around with quite a bit on the ladder, but it's a bit hard to pull off. It requires you to definitely pull back your overlords really early on. You don't want to be losing too many overlords at this point in the game. You need to bring everything together, and you still do want to get layer eventually, but you're going to be focused on getting out a lot more hydras earlier on. So it's actually 5 hatch hydra. There's an evolution chamber coming up as well. Hydraless den in the natural. Let's see how JAEDONG can deal with the air pressure coming from our barcode Protoss. I'm getting a little bit slow here. I'm thinking a lot more because this is something that I like to work on. I like to try out this 5 hatch hydra style, and it's interesting for me to really see how JAEDONG is trying to pull this off. He throws down the gas, has a pretty good number of drones. There's 9, 8, 8, and now it's gonna get the gas online. Just like 2 or 3 hydras is all you really need to keep the overlords alive. And in fact, that's all he's gonna make, like 3 hydras. I don't know why they're over here. Probably need them to be under the overlord. There's 2 Corsairs out. Of course, they each have 1 kill because there was 2 overlords. They were caught in the middle of the map. That's unfortunate. You want to lose as few overlords as possible with this build. As you do with any build, truly. And you're not going to have the spires, so having the overlords on the other side of the map is not generally considered good. 6 hatch is already on the way. +1 is halfway done, nearly. It's looking like a pretty strong build from JAEDONG. We'll see how he plays it out as time goes on, but he is going to have a really big timing here where he's going to have a good number of drones. You can see he's already at 41. 6 hatch hydra before there's any sort of storm out. So these zealots, these initial 6, are going to do nothing. Absolutely nothing. Got just a few hydras out here at the front, but way more going to be popping out here soon. You can see 6 in production. Not really in need for many more drones. I think just 4 more drones maybe get add on. You know, 1 for the Vespian Geyser and then 3 to saturate it. Because he will eventually get into layer, and oh, he has the layer already. He's got the speed upgrade, but there's lurkers, so you definitely need this once it's time for lurkers to start being made. Coming in towards the 3rd, maybe able to snipe this overlord as the hydras get pushed back. Good positioning on those hydras. He almost didn't make it into that spot, but he does manage to get in there. Drones are dancing on top of these zealots, and they will pull back at the perfect time. Great block there, by the way. Good target fire, though. Killing 3-4 drones. As compensation, he's going after the overlords, though. Oh my goodness. JAEDONG pulled way too many hydras to defend the 3rd. And now he's going to lose so many overlords. This is something that's very hard to do. You know, your brain is trained as the Zerg player to try to get, and really as any Starcraft player, to try and get as much of your army onto hotkeys as possible. But it would have actually been way better if he'd left, you know, 6 hydras at this rally point and just had the rest come over here to deal with this. Yeah, too many overlords went down there. It's going to be such a hiccup in production that I think that our Protoss player will have a follow-up to try and deal some serious damage because of this. Let's see what ends up happening. Lurkers are being made. A 4th is going to start. But if he just did like 1 massive 2 base timing against this, I think there's a good chance he could win this game. We've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we've already got 8 gateways. He's pumping dragoons. The 4th base is going to be very hard to hold. You know, he lost some drones and he wasn't able to remake those. So yeah, this is going to be tough. Zealots come down. They actually stop the 4th base from coming up. This is such a wide map as well. It's really hard to hold everything with lurkers spread out. So we'll see. 43. That's not exactly where you want to be as a Zerg. You want to be 45 at least on 3 bases, and then go up to 55. Or even 60 drones on 4. He just hasn't been able to get there. I think he understands what a kind of a rough situation he's in, so he throws in his lurkers. Oh my goodness. He forces out like 3 or 4 storms, but I hardly think this is worth it. That was a bunch of lurkers that just went down. And, I mean, just one more storm will push this away. Armor's gonna finish up here in just a second. There it is. Armor is done. He's gonna let this wall fall. It's gonna help him actually get out. Waiting on an observer. It's about to pop, and the Dragoon number is a little bit too big. More lurkers are being made. He's gonna try and contain, but this seems crazy. Trying to contain right now is gonna be very hard, especially after losing those initial 3 lurkers. Coming forward with the Dragoons. Just gonna snipe that lurker, pushing out on top of these eggs. If he gets a storm on the eggs, old Storm Egg is gonna have a field day. There it is. Storm does not come down, but the lurkers are so stacked. Oh my goodness, storm on that will be huge. He actually just opts to storm the Hydra's there instead. The Dragoon number is way too high. JAEDONG gonna be pushed back. But this attack was fated to fail. Not really any way he was gonna be able to hold that position the way the game has gone thus far. He has a pretty decent supply of units coming out. A lot of Hydras, a lot of lurkers. But there's a good number of storms, and the Dragoon number is just so high. I'm not sure that he can hold on to this. 900 minerals in the bank, though, for our Protoss. Is he not macroing properly? Is he not going to be able to keep up with JAEDONG in this case? Some pretty good storms go down into the group of Hydras, but he loses his observer. And 2 more observers are going to come up, but JAEDONG's using this opportunity to get a better position. Moving forward, he cannot be losing these observers. 2 observers go down. Oh boy. Protoss is actually in a bit of trouble. He gets a Zealot run by around the army and actually prevents the base from coming up. The 4th base is stopped. He should still save this, I think. Great storm there on one of these lurkers, and has an observer coming forward. Can he save the Nexus? Go, go, go. We have to save the Nexus here. If the Nexus stays alive, he's going to be in a great spot, but if he loses that... Oh, he has to cancel. Oh, he didn't cancel. Okay, he was killed. Looks like the Zealot counterattack finally went down as well. Make some drones over there and try to get another base going. 3rd base was delayed. 4th base was delayed for Zerg. So it's kind of even, actually. The trade ends up going pretty evenly. And JAEDONG is macroing like a god behind this. He's keeping his money so low. And he has made his way up to 45 workers, so he can produce off of 3 bases pretty consistently at this point. Make a lot of lurkers, a lot of Hydras, and maybe try to do something. Try to break in on that 3rd again, possibly. Our barcode gonna come out and grab this Nexus. But at the same time, Hydras are coming up to threaten the Nexus. And so he's not really producing that well, honestly. The macro rounds are not coming out that great. And look at that, he loses the Nexus again. I think this time he did cancel that, but forced to cancel again. 4th base is just on the way here for JAEDONG. So it's not like he's that far ahead, but slowing down the Nexus is a big deal. These Zealots are going to get caught as well. Oh my gosh, these Zealots are going to get ransacked here. A lot of them end up going down. Some of them manage to escape to the north. I'm just going to come in and poke again. Just using that pro gamer speed to his advantage. JAEDONG putting the pace onto this barcode and pushing him back and forth, not allowing him a moment to breathe. Gonna come in towards that naturally. Does lose all of his lurkers, and he doesn't execute a counter over towards the Nexus either. So he's lost a little bit of momentum, and it feels like barcode is starting to stabilize. Coming out, it's now 2 armor plus 1 attack. He's not actually upgrading anywhere right now. He doesn't even have a forge, does he? I don't see one. Wait, where's the forge? Oh, it's up above here. There it is. Oh. That was my bad. Pushing out towards the middle now. Does have one observer with this force, so he can get rid of that lurker. +2 is done. +1 armor is about to finish as well. Hydras and lurkers transferring over here to prevent the push out from Barcode as he secures this third base and starts that mining. Another upgrade coming. +2 attack on the way. Very important that he gets ahead of the armor upgrades because lings are going to start to be really effective if the armor is matching the attack upgrades for Protoss. Carapace is so good on lings when you can match upgrades. And so, oh, what's this? Corsairs coming into the main base, just checking things out. Only a couple of storms available here. And the Dragoons are starting to fight straight up with Hydras. He's just putting the pace on this Barcode player. He's not allowing him a moment of rest and diving forward again and again. This is some really good display of speed from JAEDONG. Now running up with some of these lurkers. Going to get right on top of this force. The storms are really good. Dealing so much damage to these Hydras, but okay, that one last storm is actually going to completely swing this fight. Had those Hydras been allowed to just stand and kill Dragoons, we might have seen like half the army get wiped out, but in the end, JAEDONG will be shoved back once again. He's starting to get his fourth base established, but he's also losing a lot of his army. However, the supplies are staying relatively even, mostly because the Barcode player is not as good at macro. He's just not keeping up with his money, even though he's got like, what is this? 10 gates now? 8, 9, 10. Can't spend all his money. There we go. All his money just got spent. Maybe, you know, it might be possible he's macroing off of these gateways and forgetting these two. That's absolutely understandable. When you're a Protoss player, you're used to having all your macro on one screen. You know, you're not quite like a Zerg player where you can macro off of, you know, multiple screens worth. You know, JAEDONG's macroing here, he's macroing here, he's macroing there, and macroing there. You know, Zergs are just built different. What can I say? Protoss having a hard time at keeping his macro rounds going, but he is pushing out right now, and the containment that JAEDONG was hoping to throw on this Protoss player is starting to break open. It's likely we're going to see a fourth base get taken here soon because the natural and main are now completely mined out. He's only mining on one base, and that's not a good situation. We really do need to take this fourth soon. Zerg can still sit on 4 bases for some time. He has still minerals in the main and natural, so he is technically still on 4 bases, whereas suddenly Protoss only mining off of 1. See, he can get a probe up to 12 o'clock. He will get that probe up there. Throwing down some good storms on these advancing Hydras. Will push everything back for now. Dragoons fighting back against these Hydras. This is so many Hydras, though. The little counterattack may actually end up killing this base. It's at least... yeah, he forces the cancel. He's at least going to force the response and maybe move the army into an easier to surround position. Like if he gets right up into this high ground over here, maybe you can get an army in between the bases here. Oh, the DT! Oh my gosh, the DT gets into the bottom center. This is huge. This is killing so many workers. 9 kill, 10 kill. He's actually killed all the drones at that base now. 11 kills total. This is brutal. If Barcode Zerg, or Barcode Protoss just manages to hold on a little bit longer and not throw away his entire army, somehow get 12 o'clock online, he is almost definitely going to win this game. 45 workers left. Another base goes up in the bottom right. Transfer of workers makes its way down there. This is getting a little bit intense, not gonna lie. Things are on a razor's edge at this point. No Templar in this army. 1 Templar just comes up from the third base, but now there's nothing over here. Just 2 cannons, no Templar at all. There's hardly anything left mining for our Protoss, and JAEDONG is starting to take this game. He's starting to win these fights. The base starts at 12 o'clock. If he could only get that online. The DT damage that he did is starting to kick in. It's starting to slow down the macro of JAEDONG. Like, he's just not getting out as many units as he was previously. There's a big hiccup there as all those drones went down. He's gotten a few more drones back out. He's up to 47, but he's struggling here to put the kibosh on this Broodwar player to finish him off with some sort of finality. The Hydras are going to come up, but met instantly by the Dragoon and Templar army. This Nexus finally going to come up. We should see a storm on these two lurkers there. Nice job with the storm. Good job there as well. Some of these Templar do end up going down, though they're kind of walking forward into the fire of these Hydras, and now there's no storm remaining for these last few Hydras. The last couple of lurkers are going to go down, but there's no cannons being made on this high ground. I think we might have just seen the end here of our Protoss player. He's run out of steam, it seems. He needs to get a big round of probes over to the top center. He's got 45 workers, all of them on just one base. He's missing his opportunity to saturate that 12 o'clock because it's soon gonna be JAEDONG pushing in for the final blows. 4 more Dragoons on the way, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. There's no hive or anything. This is just pure layer-based play with Hydras and lurkers running around everywhere. Looks like a DT may be able to get into the bottom right. That's huge. That DT could make all the difference. Great storm there as well. Kills so many workers, or so many Hydras. Workers down here are going to make a run for it. He goes after the Hydra, going to start to kill some of these workers, but the DT will die before it can get any damage. The base over here does have 1 Templar at it, and there's enough storm to keep this Protoss player alive. I can't believe he's not building any cannons. He could get pulled apart at any moment. Going to catch these Hydras over towards this right-hand side, but knows that he needs to stay over on this left, just in case more Hydras come up, and you know that JAEDONG's going to be sending in counterattacks constantly to try and break this. 2-2 is done. The Hydras are trying to get up here, but there's no cannons. He really does need cannons over there in case any Hydras sneak by. Just 2 cannons will kill so many Hydras from that high ground. Coming in with just pure Hydra trying to break this. 1 storm goes down on a big group of Hydras. He actually clears that out. Last few Hydras are going to end up going down. There's still a decent number of Dragoons in this force. A few more Templars need to increment to the front. And he's going to stay alive for the time being. Another DT makes his way down into 6 o'clock. There's one Overlord here observing this. He's going to get the detector in. Hydras should be coming up soon. Starting to push out with these Dragoons, but he doesn't have anything back at home. GG is called. The Templar getting into the 6 o'clock and JAEDONG running out of steam. What an incredible game, actually, with this unknown player. This was a fantastic one. Very, very close game. I really thought that JAEDONG was going to break him there several times, but barely managing to hang on and getting these DTs out on the map made a world of difference. Excellent game here. We've got a few more coming right up. Don't go away. All right, potentially the last game of this little series. We've got another barcode player. Not the barcode player from the last game, different barcode, but that last game was so good, I'm willing to give this other barcode player a try. See how he performs against JAEDONG. See if we can get a good game out of this one as well. No idea who this barcode is. He's just a random. We got JAEDONG spawning down here in the bottom right. The orange trunks going for a 9 pool. Orange is my favorite color for playing Zerg as well. You know me. Gotta go. Got that Saiyan blood in me. Gotta go for the orange trunks. Put the orange trunks on when I'm gonna go Super Saiyan. I'm gonna get to my next form. I'm gonna go ahead and extractor trick out an extra drone. Gets that Overlord on the way. Comes in, he spots everything. Gonna throw down the forge. Probably double cannon behind this. Gotta be careful. Don't want to let even one JAEDONG Zergling into your main as a Protoss player. That would be a disaster. But he's managed to scout first, and so he should be 100% fine. Putting some good damage onto this one drone, but gonna be driven back for now. 6 slings on the way. And the forge is gonna finish up just in time. There's the first cannon. There is a second cannon, as expected. We're gonna have 6 slings pop out, head directly across the map. Although, now that he sees it with the overlords, I think he just chases the probe. Now it gets his natural up, no problem. Ooh, gets the probe right away. Excellent. He can see whatever comes out of the natural with this overlord, and he should be able to get lings out in front of this. And that means that our Protoss player is not going to be able to get a scout on the map after this. He's in a good spot. The 9 pull is going to do 0 damage, but this is still a little bit scary. Not being able to see anything that the Zerg player is doing. It's not a super comfortable position. Yeah, you can see he's just ready. Not gonna allow any scout to get out. And even when there's 1 zealot, it's not gonna be able to leave. 6 lings will easily beat that. So there could be anything happening behind this. We could have a Hydra Den already down, and it could be like a 2-hatch Hydra play. That's pretty risky, and it's very all in, but it is possible. There you go, kills off that probe. It's possible to make that work against something like this. You just get the Hydras out so quick. It's kind of crazy. Now, the gas came up pretty early on. Actually, before the 3rd hatchery. And it's got the layer on the way. We might actually see some sort of muta play. That is possible. Maybe even a lurker play. I don't know what he's actually going to do with this very early layer. Because look, he's already got the layer halfway done. Only 2 drones mining in the natural. This is very low eco play out of JAEDONG. You can see he's even got quite a few larvae just kind of sitting here. Going to get those made into drones right away. The probe advantage is pretty big. 5 probe advantage. That's not good for the long-term health of this game for our Zerg player. JAEDONG has been starting off a lot of these games from a deficit, but he's done a great job of bringing it back in most of them. It is a pro player we're talking about here against, you know, some semi-pros and 4GG. 4GG, I would consider him a pro. Just not a very active pro, that's for sure. Armor coming up first, that's interesting. And he goes for the Dragoon as well. It's a much beefier unit, does a lot better to block. You actually need 2 Zealots to block that. But 1 Dragoon will block it, no problem. So maybe that's the reason why he went for the Dragoon here. It seems like a good plan to me. Going for a very quick range, actually. This is going to be a Dragoon all in. Interesting. Okay. Dragoon all in out of this barcode player. Let's see how long it takes for JAEDONG to figure that out. And what his what he's going to be using as tech. Because he's got the Spire almost done, but there's not going to be a Corsair at all. So these Scourge are going to be kind of useless. He hasn't taken his 2nd gas yet, so I'm a little bit worried. He's not going to have enough gas. And this attack is going to come awfully quick. Going to go to 4 gateways, maybe even a 5th. Well, there's already 5 gates. Maybe it goes to 6 gates? 6 gate goon all in. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be wild, boys. This is gonna be 7 gate goon all in. Okay. Hello. What on earth are we even doing right now? He's gonna send these Scourge in and actually find out what's happening. And I wonder what he's going to think of this. One way to deal with this is just mass ling, like huge amounts of ling with, you know, mixing in some hydras here and there. Oh god, he blocks his own dragoon. That was pretty bad. Loses one of his first dragoons. That's not a good way to start this out. See, 5 lings on the way, but does he have enough hatches to sustain ling production? One sunken colony coming up. Sunkens are not the greatest against the dragoon all-in, because dragoons can just sit outside of range and hit the hatchery and kill off a lot of your production. It really does make it hard to hold this. Just the hatchery going down is actually a massive deal. You need so many units to be able to stop this. Uh-oh. Ling's coming in from behind. Good micro here, though, by our Protoss player. He's actually getting some amazing value out of these dragoons by just moving them around. You can see those lings are really trying to chase down one of these, but all the dragoons are still alive. And the rallies of dragoons coming up right now is kind of crazy. He's going to lose the hatch first. Ooh, this is painful. Now he could actually rotate down to the third. And the third base is not nearly as well defended. 9 mutas on the way. Interesting choice. Mutaling is a pretty good way to counter this. But you have to have a lot of forces because this dragoon number is growing like crazy. He's going to come down. Creep colonies are on the way, but man, I don't think he's going to be able to hold this. That is so many dragoons coming up. He just needs to get out of range of that one creep. And he will be able to kill this sunken from range. Oh, mutas are going to come across the map. He's just going to go after the probes. Interesting choice. There's probes dying here in the natural. He can actually take over the main as well. I hope that he's building cannons in the main. Yeah, he's got a bunch of cannons warping in, but the dragoons are not going to be present to save this. Dragoons popping out. They need to fight. Dragoons need to fight. They just need to buy time. All he needs to do is buy time for these 3 cannons to finish, and he should be okay, but he hasn't bought enough time. This base is going to go down. However, the cannons in the main will end up falling as well. This is getting really crazy. I'm not sure if JAEDONG can deal enough damage with these mutas at the same time. How is our Protoss going to stabilize? Seems like he might be able to push back the mutas now, but okay, good pull back with those dragoons, just forcing an overcommitment with the mutas, diving in so deep to actually kill these off. He's taking a lot of damage, and the dragoons are still incrementing out slowly. He's one base mining. He's got a cannon in the mineral line now over at the natural. He's not been mining at the main for quite some time, and there's still a location here where the Mutalists can actually attack. Mutas are going to head back now because the natural is being breached. So many sunken colonies came out here at the natural, but okay, I think he actually clears this. He should be able to kill all of these dragoons. The dragoons, they're getting reinforced by a bunch of zealots that are not going to do well against these mutalists. And you know what? This is a very interesting situation. I haven't really seen something like this happen before. This is not going to be easy on either side. I feel like JAEDONG has an advantage just due to the fact that he's got so much more mobile of an army, but he has only 2 bases. Just 2 base mining. See, +1 air attack start, 3 cannons in the main, 3 dragoons in the natural, plus the cannon. Gonna be dealing quite a bit of damage every time he comes in, but he's still killing off probes, and there's actually less probes than there are drones at this point. That is insane. Very few drones remain. So our barcode player making the call to switch into Corsairs, but I'm looking at this probe count and I don't know how effective this is going to be. How he's going to be able to win this game. JAEDONG has such a better economy. Even though he's stuck on 2 bases, he's got a 3rd coming up soon, and he has so many mutas to work with. Double Stargate might have been a better choice. Only 1 Stargate's going to take so long to get enough Corsairs out here to be able to combat this. Triple cannon in the main. JAEDONG just going to dive right on top of that. not giving a damn whatsoever. He clears this out and he sees the Corsair transition. More Mutalisks are being made, but he starts Carapace, realizing that he's gonna have to have something after this. Having on top of a few of these Dragoons, making Barcode's life a living hell right now, trying desperately to just stabilize. He's having such a hard time though. That's so many Mutas. Oh my god. I think 2 full groups of Mutas are about to fly into the main. We're gonna see some pandemonium as that main just gets completely ransacked. Flying now here into this main base. That's so many Mutas. The Dragoons were just thinking about heading out on the map, but they're actually gonna have to be pulled back immediately as most of the probes start to go down. There's Scourge here as well. He takes over the, oh gosh, he takes over the Stargate and kills off one of those Corsairs right as it pops. Oh, he's got to keep dodging. He can't allow that Corsair to go down. The Corsair falls. And the Mutas are just too many in number. He's going to completely overwhelm this position. GG is called. Overpowering with just pure Mutalisk. Not the way I expected this match to go, but that was an interesting response to the Dragoon all-in. Such a difficult situation when you lose not just your third base, but he lost 3 hatcheries. 3 hatcheries went down to that Dragoon attack. He made the right calls though. He made the extra sunk-ins. He just kept on pumping out Mutalisk, committed very, very hard into dealing damage to the economy of that Protoss player, and eventually managed to work his way into a victory. This is a really good display of the pro gamer Zerg just robustness that they can bring to the table. How difficult it is to take out a Zerg player at this level. Pro gamers are something else. Like, Zerg feels so flimsy sometimes, but it can also feel insanely robust as well when you're presented with a player the caliber of JAEDONG. I know he's not the absolute pinnacle of Zerg play right now, but he is incredibly strong and deserves some respect for taking back this game, bringing it into a victory. We've got one more game. I guess I'll bring it out. Kind of a crazy one, but I think it also displays just how robust a Zerg pro can be, just how difficult it is to actually take out one of these Zerg pros. So let's jump into that last game. We've got Nansu Dai down here in the bottom left versus JAEDONG. I don't really know anything about this Terran player, but I heard that this game was crazy. It was a mess. So those are the exact words that Dude Nerd used to describe this replay. So I've got high expectations. We'll see if we get some craziness. TVZ, always a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. There's so many different ways to play this matchup out. It's really one of the most diverse matchups, I think, in Broodwar. Maybe the most diverse matchup in terms of different strategies that you can use and the different ways that it can go. There are, you know, mech plays, there's bio plays, there's crazy Zerg, there's Guardian play. There's just so many different things that you can do. Fast Lurker, you know, Fast Defiler. There's a ton of innovation and different strategies in this matchup. I wish all matchups were actually like TVZ, honestly, that we could have, you know, so much diversity, and maybe we will get more diversity as time goes on, as the game continues to develop and players continue to find new uses for old units, units that were traditionally thought to be kind of unusable and kind of worthless, seem to have some more possibilities and more utility in the modern age. Something like Queens as a good example, a unit that just was hardly ever used in the past. Valkyrie as well, both now getting a lot more use, seeing more ensnare plays versus Terran, we're seeing a lot more use of Broodling against tanks and that sort of thing. Going for a 2 racks is Nansudai, so he's going to put on pressure early. Haven't really seen anything too crazy go on just yet, as JAEDONG is just powering up. He's been poking with that drone at the front, just seeing if he wants to move out with the Marine. Turns out the Marines are just going to stay at home. He's actually built both the barracks on the high ground. This is a much older way to play. This is an older style, building both of the barracks up here. Usually you'll build them down in the front of the base, but it was traditionally very common to see these up on the top of the ramp, because what you could do if there was a 6 spool coming your way, if there was really fast Ling aggression, you could just pull 5 SCVs to the ramp, get a Marine behind that, and you should be able to hold on against the early Ling pressure. So traditionally this is how it went, but you have to be very careful with this style of play, because a Ling flood can just kill you, unlike when you have that wall and you can just park your Marines right behind the wall and be completely safe. Here we've got a big group of Marines, but they're all kind of exposed. If we get a really large group of Lings suddenly made and they manage to loop around and kill all these Marines, the game can just end immediately. Doesn't seem like that's what JAEDONG wants to do. Instead, he's just going to be poking at the front. You can see already 9 Marines. We should have 2 medics on the way, and we do. 9 Marines and 2 medics. Going to be moving out at the 5-minute mark. Well, just post 5 minutes, so it's a little bit slower, but with more Marines. This push that's going to come from Nansudai. Going to start his engineering bay back at home. Can't really allow these Lings to run by him, so he's actually going to... Okay, he's going to start 2 fire bats and just push across the map. If the Lings run by, then the fire bats should be able to deal with it on the ramp. So, gonna make his way over to the front natural. We've got the creep colony finishing up, and the sunken is going to start. He's gonna dive on top of the back of this Marine group, try to just buy a little bit of time. He needs the sunken colony to finish before the Marines arrive. 6 mutas are on the way as well, so he's getting all his mutas going. There's the stim. Firebat's making the way to the front. This is going to be a little bit tight. Firebat there in the back is going to push away those Lings. And the sunken colony goes down very quickly. Going to try and focus down the Firebats here so that the Lings can do a little bit more damage. But the Lings are already dead. And drones are starting to fall. How many mutas in this stack? Just 4. 4 mutas is just not going to cut it. 5 muta pops out. It dies immediately. Now he's got 4 mutas only. And trying to pick off Marines, you're not going to be able to kill them in one shot, which is extremely detrimental. You need that one-shot potential, otherwise the Marines are going to do way too much damage. Finally going to be able to clear this up. He's done a good job of keeping the drones away from the hatchery throughout this whole exchange, and he's managed to keep 5 drones alive. Now, that's a lot better than it probably sounds. Keeping those 5 drones alive means he's got, at least 3 here in the natural on minerals, and he's got 2 more over at the 3rd. That's enough to make non-stop mutas, and Nansudai knows how much damage he's done. He knows that if he just builds a ton of turrets and quickly goes up in towards Science Vessel, then he should be okay and have an advantage if JAEDONG decides to transition. There's no transition on the way here just yet. And he's gonna go ahead and deal some damage to this engineering bay. It's a little bit on the outskirts, but the Marine number is pretty decent. Let's see if he builds any Lings and tries to go for a counter stab into the natural or not. He's still building mutas, just non-stop mutas, a few drones popping out. He's gonna get that 3rd gas online. This is not a good situation for JAEDONG, though. He's going to be fighting from behind from here on out. 27 workers total. 35 are done for Nansudai. And you see, he's actually paused production on these SCVs. So he's actually going to add more barracks and possibly just go all in. Well, not exactly all in, but all in from a Terran perspective. Oh, wait. No, more SCVs being made. He's actually going to go for a tank Valkyrie push. here in a moment. And this is something that Light does very often. Sacrifice the higher quality late game by just sitting on 30 to 35 SCVs and pumping out a huge amount of tech and units, get all this production up as soon as possible, and then put on a huge amount of pressure. Now, some players prefer to go up to, you know, 45, 50 SCVs, take a third base while trying to put on pressure, but the amount of power, the amount of pressure you can put on while just halting that SCV production, it's actually worth it in a lot of cases. Here comes the Mutaflock. We do have the transition on the way. Evolution Chamber finishing up now. Lurker Aspect coming up as well. Hive halfway done. The third tank's gonna pop, and a Valkyrie's gonna be out here soon. And Nansadai will be ready to push before Lurkers hit the field, and long before Defilers are ready. So let's see if he can get across this map, and if this play is gonna end up working out for him. 39 workers now. You can see he's halted on worker production again. He did add on another barracks, but if you saw, like, Light, if there's Light playing this game, he would have, you know, 5 factories already. He would have stopped at 35, and he would have made a bunch more factories by this point to really ramp up the production and get ready for this attack. Now, a third Valkyrie's gonna pop. It's a great timing to attack across the map. That third Valkyrie just adds so much DPS and makes it so much more difficult for the Mutalisk to engage. Lurkers are out now, but they're not out on the map, which means that we don't have a Lurker landmine setup ready for this. He's gonna try and move out to the front. He's buying time with this play, but maybe... Okay, there we go. Does get the scan off. Here comes some Scourge. They're gonna connect on one of these Valkyries. Actually, 2 Valkyries go down immediately. So losing those 2 Valkyries right off the bat, clearly Nansadai not the caliber of player of someone like Speed. Also, a lot of medics went down. We've only got 1 medic. Oh my gosh, so many medics died there. Really difficult to make this push work. Loses the SCV that was repairing that tank. Oh man, these Lurkers coming from behind are gonna wreck everything. Oh my goodness, that was a very nice cleanup. Very nice cleanup indeed from JAEDONG. He's holding onto this beautifully. This was looking like a really scary push just a few moments ago, and now it's not looking nearly as difficult to hold. We're gonna have Defiler out here in just a moment. He's diving on the back line, trying to kill these Marines at the back. Gonna throw away all of his mutas, but it's fine. The Defiler's out. Consume is just a few seconds away from completion, and then he's going to be able to push out and hold this off no problem. This is looking very good for JAEDONG now. The risky play of just halting SCV production, I said it was all in earlier. I didn't really fully mean that. It's more of a risky play. I don't really have a good word for it. What could you say as, like, I guess it's just an aggressive play, right? You just sacrifice your economy to get an aggressive play. Oh, a drop into the main. This drop could actually do quite a bit. He's going to be able to rotate around the right-hand side. There's not enough coverage to keep the drone safe on this side, and so he'll have to bring another Defiler up. One Defiler was killed. Lurker's going to hit from... Oh, no, it was just pulled away. There it is. Great kill on that Defiler, right? Or that Lurker right there. And the Defiler is getting stuck on the eggs. Oh, it's so annoying. That Defiler needed to get a little bit farther forward to cast the Darkstorm, but it wasn't able to. More drones likely to fall here. The drone's actually blocking the Lings as they're trying to get in. This is so frustrating. These tanks are still out in the front, still dealing damage, and a drop is going to come around and I think go into this space at the same time. This is a complete mess. Things have gone so far awry for JAEDONG. I wonder if he's going to be able to stabilize. He needs to get everything through this Nidus right now, save the space. Looks like he will be able to save that. Hopefully he's got some Scourge somewhere. Doesn't seem like he does, and so this will continue. This harassment. Coming now into the main base. These Lurkers are going to have to hop back through the Nidus Canal. go into the main. No plague available. Hasn't researched that yet, I don't think. Otherwise, he would definitely plague that small group. No third base just yet. There it is. Third now is coming up. Gonna have a fourth base started here momentarily. He's continuing with... Oh my gosh, he doesn't even have irradiate yet. He must have missed that upgrade. Irradiate pretty slow here. But it's gonna start to come into effect now. He gets a couple of high cost gas units. A drop coming over into the center right. Oh, he's got Scourge. Oh, the Scourge are gonna connect. And he will get that. Nice job there. Should have dropped. Should have just dropped out over here and tried to kill the Scourge, but he didn't pull it off in time. Nansudai starting to slow down a little bit, and JAEDONG's going to completely stabilize. Has another hatchery on the way. He's going fully now into Hydralisk Defiler play. I don't know if there's plague yet or not. Oh gosh, a lot of these defilers are gonna die. Oh, he consumed the defiler with the plagued defiler. That was, I think, the wrong way to do that. He should have consumed the plagued defiler with the non-plagued defiler. Kind of did that backwards there. Got some... Oh, Scourge are flying over here. That's unfortunate. Losing like 8 Scourge or 6 Scourge for nothing, for free. Oh, there's Plague on the way now. Oh my god, it's so late. JAEDONG. Really not quite the monster that he used to be. Having a very hard time dealing with just these 2 tanks over here. You gotta get over there and deal with that. Can't allow it to kill your extractor, that's for sure. One more Dark Swarm out in the front on top of these tanks. Not able to get those vessels though, and the vessel number is continuing to grow. We're at 6 vessels. That's a lot of irradiate, and he's having to keep up quite a few lurkers back at the third base. It's making it harder for him to defend the natural because the irradiates are going to continue to cut through these lurkers. Stacked lurkers over at this base, holding down both locations. It's really tough. It's a double-edged sword stacking your lurkers, because if you stack your lurkers like this, yes, the irradiates can't deal as much damage, but what if you have to quickly unburrow and get your lurkers through the nidus? Then it becomes really hard. They might dance on top of each other and just never move up towards that base. Oh gosh, base in the top right hand corner is gonna get killed. Nice plague on these Marines. I'm gonna change the color now. Yeah, let's go to red versus blue. That was a bit hard on the eyes there, but hopefully you guys can stick with me. 7 kills on this one Ling. My goodness, that dealing a lot of damage over there. Darkstorm on the high ground, holding this off. Nansudai struggling a little bit with late game TVZ, but he's managed to deny a 4th base, at least for now. That's a very important thing to note at this point. Keeping that 4th gas down is going to slow this Zerg player to a crawl. We've got Ultralisk Cavern. I really thought he was going to go Hydra Defiler, but he's trying to go into Ultra now. This is kind of a funny way of doing it, but he may eventually get that 4th gas online. Let's just see. If you just go on 3 gases and try to switch directly in Ultra, it's not the greatest. It honestly isn't that good. Crazy Zerg only works because you're not gonna build any... Oh, he's searching for... I see. He's searching for those vessels that were irradiated, but here they are in the rally point actually being... Oh, can you get one of them? Can you get one of them? Kill. Kill that one. Kill that one. Get it. Nice. He gets that one. Not what he was looking for, though. He was looking for 5 vessels that had been plagued, so... only getting the one. A little bit frustrating there. Another plague goes down on some of these vessels. And what I was saying, the only reason why Crazy Zerg works is because you skip lurkers. And 3 gas is enough to get the ultras out, and then you can force your way onto a 4th base. But he's gone for lurkers and defilers. Oh, getting a couple of kills here. That's very nice. 4 kills now on that Mutalisk, being very efficient. That 100 gas clearing up several hundred gas worth of vessels, but more and more vessels are coming out. He's starting to transition into tanks as well. More tanks coming out from the main base, a second factory in the natural. A lot of these units actually getting cleared. I guess there were some good plagues that went down on this army, and so things are getting pushed back. You can see that this is quite a sloppy mess, for sure. This is not the, you know, extremely refined Terran play that we're used to from someone like Speed. And, you know, it really does show. Having a hard time denying bases. We've got a base going up at the top center, a base at the bottom center. Radiate's coming out here. Gonna go ahead and deal some damage to these early Ultralists. That's really unfortunate because the Ultras are super late in this case. We're 19 minutes in, and Ultras are just starting to get out on the map. He's gonna have a +5 armor soon, so that's pretty strong. +3 is just about done as well. He's going into mech upgrades. In addition, has completely forgotten about this 6 o'clock base. Totally slipped his mind, it seems, at this point. JAEDONG not even thinking about that. He should have that gas online by now, but he's more focused on getting plagues out on the army and getting prepared for this upcoming attack. Oh boy, that is a serious army making its way towards his natural. He's gonna lose his Defiler, plus all of his Ultras end up getting irradiated at that natural as well. Ling's just kind of moving around the map. We have a Defiler as well. Maybe he can get a... Oh, great plague there on all the tanks. Oh my goodness, these tanks just getting plagued in the middle of the map is so brutal. And some vessels falling as well. If he can just get on top of those tanks, he can kill every single one of them so quickly. Bunch of drones being transferred down towards bottom center, right through the marine fire. Not a one of them will make it up that ramp. Well, actually one will. Excuse me. Trying to delay this as much as possible, but it's bearing down on the natural now. There's not a lot of HP in all of these tanks. There's like 2 tanks that actually have full HP. The rest are all plagued. Getting on top of a few of them, actually picking them off very quickly. There's only 4 tanks remaining, but the army is pushing its way down into the natural. This natural is going to go, and there was still gas left over in that geyser, unfortunately, for JAEDONG. Now going to come in and surround this bio army. If he can get on top of this with a couple of Dark Swarms, he should be able to clear everything, but he's allowing his units to just kind of run forward here. More vessels are going to fall. Lings are going to come out. Doesn't have enough for another Dark Swarm, but he can at least block the ramp for now. Looks like 12 is going to be killed, but 6 is remaining. Somehow 6 is still alive. Coming up to surround this army. Here we go. The cleanup is real. Everything going to just get annihilated. +2 attack is done. That's so good on these Lings. Gonna move forward here. Try to get a plague on a big clump of army. Can he actually get it off? Dark Swarm on both of these tanks. So the tanks will fall. And the Lings and Ultras are going to do a pretty decent job fighting this. But he actually needs another Defiler out here if he wants to push the issue. Okay. Gonna take the fight underneath the Dark Swarm. Not the greatest choice there from Nansadai, but he's still managing to hold on. JAEDONG holding his ground for now. This 6 o'clock going unpunished is so brutal. If, like, there was a transfer of workers, I can't believe that Nansadai didn't realize that that was coming. And the reinforcement train that he sent down towards the natural could have been leveraged to just kill that 6 o'clock easily. You guys know what I'm talking about. More units being sent over to top right. They're just gonna walk directly into lurker spines. 5 kills on that lurker. 8 kills on this one. Yeah, total, what is this? 18 kills? That is ridiculous. So many units just being sent on an A-click up to the top right-hand corner and not being paid attention to. Nansadai struggling right now, but he's gonna finally get a bio group down to bottom center. He's actually gonna shut down this base, most likely. Lings are coming down to hopefully try and clear that. There may be enough of them and not enough Marines to handle this. And so it looks like JAEDONG gonna hold on. Just barely. Look, only 3 Lings remain after that fight. Another force gonna make its way down to 6 o'clock. He really wants to shut down this gas. If he does, JAEDONG is gonna be running on fumes and will likely lose this game. Dark Swarm manages to get up here on the high ground though, and a single Ultra will be able to shut down this attack, it seems. Trying to get more hits on these vessels, but having a hard time. We are getting back on a 4 gases, but we're past the 23-minute mark, so the main will be mined out. You can see very little money coming in for JAEDONG right now. 39 workers. He's barely hanging on in this game. Just hardly keeping himself alive. The Natural's still mining for Nansadai. The 3rd and 4th are looking very good. And so he should technically be able to win this game, but maybe JAEDONG can pull out a miracle. Anything is possible here. The pro gamer versus a random ladder Terran. There may be a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. This gas is going to get online. Oh boy. This gas over in top right-hand corner is actually going to change this game, I think. He's back on 3 or 4 gases. Got, oh, just a tiny bit of gas left here. Tiny bit there too. He's on like 4 1/4 gases for just a little bit of time. We'll see if he can hang on to that. He does need to get another base online as soon as possible though, because these gases are not going to last much longer. An army's managed to make its way around the forces of JAEDONG and will in fact get onto the high ground at the bottom center base. Lings with the counterattack are going to be sent back to try and deal with this, but there's just a little bit too much bio, and it looks like he's going to lose this. Okay, 2 Ultras here might be able to clear. This is not a lot of Marines. Oh god, the Ultra just not attacking efficiently. The Irradiate's actually going to help in this situation. And so he will be able to clear out the forces at 6 o'clock. Start to mine once again at this base. But we are still on the very edge of defeat for JAEDONG. Wait, taps out. GG. Are you kidding me? Nansadai with 3,000 minerals and still 2 bases mining taps out of this game. What on earth just happened? I mean, I understand he has this base in the top right. He's barely managed to mine this 6 o'clock, but this is depleted now. This is depleted. This is depleted as well. There's 85 supply. Zerg is like hardly alive right now. He's able to make 2 Ultras. He's got 40 workers. I mean, I understand, you know, losing this base is frustrating, but all we need to do is just pump out more units and maybe send a drop up here to top right. That should be enough to shut things down. Oh my goodness. Nansadai, an absolute princess, is just gonna leave this game when he was still ahead for sure. He had the lead and just got a little bit too frustrated by JAEDONG running around with a couple of Lings and Ultras, getting so many kills. 5 kills on this Ling, 8 kills on this Ultra. This actually might have forced, or not forced, but made Nansadai leave this game. The Ultra Ling combo up in the top left-hand corner, just frustrating him barely enough to make him leave. Actually ridiculous. I cannot believe he wanted to leave this game. Regardless, guys, thank you so much for watching this long series of JAEDONG games. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.